the screen. I hope the screen sharing is enabled and it's clear.
Yes, yes, it is visible.
Today's topic is mind. This is a book written by Tattvagani Vedatri Maharshi. The first edition of this book was in the year 1999. Then the subsequent editions and the recent edition, that is edition in the year 2023, is the 11th edition. This book is covered in three parts. Part one talks about the mind of God. Part two talks about the mind of humans. And part three is the enlightenment and peace. So I went through this book. The book was so simplified manner, the complex things. The greatness about the book is the complex phenomena is explained in the most simplest words or simple possible language. So that's what I could feel, and I read it. So I thought, okay, let us recapitulate the theory principles. Most of you are already associated with Sky, you are aware of the concepts, but I just thought of working on the fundamentals, what has been taught to us during our earlier classes. So we'll just try to cover the two parts, the first two parts. Before we get into the core of the topic, let us think for a while. We did Turyadita meditation, we went to the universal magnetic field, so sun, moon, those things. The mass of Earth is about 6 to the power 6 into 10 to the power 24 kgs. So if my weight is 60 kilos, and the 23 zeros, 10 and 23 zeros, that is the mass of Earth. Mass of Sun, 2 into 10 to the power 30 kilos. So these are the huge masses of celestial bodies which are prevalent or which are at their respective places, okay, and functioning with regularity without any change or without any alterations. First of all, who is supporting that mass? Where is this? Science also says something needs to be supported. Where is that weight being supported, or how is that weight being supported? There is some force working. Yes. What is that force working? Or whose mind is behind all these things? So if we look at this, okay, before we go into Vedatri Maharsh's clear principles and analysis, we'll just go through the scientific community, what they say about this. The underlined portion, this is if you see the logo at the top, this is from NASA, one of the most recognized scientific community. Okay. The underlined portion, just focus on that. It says four fundamental forces: gravity, electromagnetism, the strong and weak nuclear forces. This is what they just mentioned, four. There is no detailed analysis. Where is the force coming from? How is that force and all those things? Okay, there is not much of enough clarity on this concepts. Just this is only for the sake of giving a scientific community's thought on this thing. That's why I'm saying we'll go back to Vedatri Maharsh's detailed principles. Okay. To know the answer, let us go into the basic concepts of creation. First principle. Principle in the sense we see it is given. Yes, it is there. First principle is God or nature. This is what is, it is given. There is no phenomena. It is given as a principle. Okay. And it has three attributes. What are those attributes? First is plenum. Second one is force. And third one is consciousness. The first principle of origin, God or nature, has three, uh, three inseparable components: plenum, force, and consciousness. What is the complete definition of God? Plenum is the inexhaustible force with omniscient consciousness. So basically, there are the two functions, force and consciousness. Plenum is the where we have the inexhaustible force. Inexhaustible force is being functioning with omniscient consciousness. It knows everything. That is the consciousness. Force, it has unlimited, inexhaustible energy. This is what is doing the things, or all activities are taking place. This is the basic first principle of this. Now, let us go into the subsequent clarity on nature. A basic understanding on the process of nature. What is this? The absolute space, what we normally refer to. It is penetrative dark fluid matter characterized by self-compressive kinematic quivering, surrounding pressure force. Kinematic, just focusing on the word kinematic. There is a difference between kinetics and kinematics. The difference is kinematics deals with motion only, no reference to force. Whereas kinetics deals with the force and motion. There is a force, and this force is causing a motion. So that is kinetics. Whereas kinematics, here we are referring about motion only, no reference to any force. That is happening only in space. So that is why the word kinematics. So in this constant pressure surrounding force, this absolute space or dark matter is subjected to constant pressure from all surroundings. With this constant surrounding pressure all around the space or the dark matter, there happens a pressure or the formation of energy particle. This is constantly formed, or because of the rotating action, because of the pressure all around, this is acting as a rotating body. So this is the result of the constant quivering process, and this particle is always spinning because of the constant pressure force. This life force particle or God particle, this is named as a God particle or life force particle, or formative dust. Because of the constant pressure surrounding force, this dust particle has formed. It is nowhere, it is not there in this, but it is formed out of the space. So formative dust. And this is also named as Vithon in the honor of its founder, Sri Vedatri Maharshi. This is also named as Vithon. So this is the basic fundamental particle, which is always spinning at high speed because of the surrounding pressure force all around. So these two are the basic concepts. Surrounding pressure force is there, always there in the space. And because of that, the God particle or the life force particle has been formed. And this is always rotating at a very high speed. So this is the concept or a basic principles before we go ahead with the further explanations or further topic. To visualize or to understand this in a reality field, yes, the pressure difference can cause spinning. Just to explain this process, we see whirlwinds or dust devils in our day-to-day life, right? So these whirlwinds are the one, this you see the whirlwind or dust devil. Why this takes place? This takes place because of pressure difference. We understand there is a pressure difference in the atmosphere that is causing the circulatory motion or a whirlwind motion. So because of this pressure difference, that goes on moving around. So this is what is just a simple in it. This is not at all the process bit is different, but the pressure difference can cause rotating or spinning action. To explain this, I just thought of giving this example. This is the natural phenomena. In the artificial phenomena, yes, in the gas turbines, we use a pressure difference, high temperature, high pressure gas is introduced, which causes spitting. This is another example in the scientific or artificial means what we see. Okay. So now, the recap of the fundamental principles, self-compressive surrounding pressure force. This is the one which is leading to formation of primary energy particle. Now, what are the qualities of this primary energy particle? Maharshi says this primary energy particle is spherical in nature and it has high speed of rotation. The basis for spherical, yes, even in science says anything that has a surrounding pressure equally distributed all around takes spherical shape. If we, in a normal life, real life, we see the art of making laddu. When we put pressure equally all around, the laddu is spherical. This is just an example. And in the scientific community, we see the spheres or tanks, which are spherical LPG. Those are made the other way around of that. If the tank is spherical, the pressure is distributed uniformly. That is the reason we go for spherical tanks. Or if the pressure is distributed uniformly, the shape will be spherical. Okay. Next, coming to the second component, high speed rotation. Even we know the centripetal force formula, F is equal to mv square by r. Mass is very small or negligible. R is very small or negligible radius. So the V square or velocity is so high. This is what scientific community can answer this. But Marcy has mentioned that yes, the self-compressor surrounding pressure force results in primary energy particle. This primary energy particle is spherical in nature and rotates with high speed of rotation. With this given inputs, let us go to the third principle. These two are the fundamentals. Then the out of these two actions or principles, we have the next principle happening. Constant high speed of rotation is happening in the space by the formation dust or energy particle or life force particle. Okay. This is the given. Now, the absolute space has having gravity. Gravity is the one force which is acting in one direction. Because of the rotation of this life force particle, there is constant force or friction generated from the surrounding. That is again second force. If we refer to the scientific community's answers, weak force. So that is the weak force, friction force. This is or these two forces are having, when even science also says, when the two forces are acting, there will be a resultant force. This resultant force is the one which is or this you see the two forces. One is acting downward. When the rotation, when the particle is rotating, this force is rotating in a different way. So these two are the resultant forces. These resultant forces lead to formation of a wave pattern. So this wave pattern is nothing but magnetism, or this is called a magnetic wave. This magnetic wave is result of rotation of the primary particle or life force particle in the absolute space, and this frictional forces and gravitational force are two forces which are responsible for generating this magnetism or magnetic wave. This magnetic wave is weak in nature, unlike the God particle or the life force particle or photon. That is the strongest one which has generated from the space itself or formative dust itself. It is strong in nature. The resultant wave magnetism is weak in nature, or the wave ultimately gets merged or gets dissolved in absolute space. So when this resultant force gets dissolved in gravity, that is the one or that is the wave which is called magnetism. So this is the third principle. After those two basic fundamental principles, this is the third one. This is the magnetism which takes place as a part of those first two principles. We will look at just or try to correlate this concept in our real life field or what we see around the scientific community's creations. Dynamo or a generator. This dynamo or a generator is nothing but a high speed rotating coil, whether it is a hydraulic turbine or power generator turbines. Coil rotating in a magnetic field is subjected to magnetic flux. We call it magnetic flux, which gets continuously cut. That produces electricity, nothing but a magnetic wave. When the conductor current is flowing through a conductor, it introduces magnetic wave or electromagnetic wave. So that is what similarly can be correlated to for our understanding. Yes, because of high speed rotation and the frictional force that will generate a magnetic wave. Okay, so this is what is the one. Next, with this magnetic wave, or before we go into the magnetic wave, we will again consolidate on the functions of nature. So these are the three principles. Next, how the nature is functioning or how the functioning of nature is taking place. This is looking like an organ chart or organism chart. The charts what we see in organization charts. Before we go, we'll just recapitulate what one of our lectures, Professor Muthu has mentioned, which is the office of nature or God. There was a lecture in Tamil and English both, saying that which is the office of God or where is the God's office. So there we had answered that yes, universal magnetism is the God's office. So if there is an office, there is an organization. I'm just trying to correlate with this, giving us an organization chart. Nature functions through consciousness and force. These two components, even the definition also we mentioned, inexhaustible force with omniscient consciousness, that is God. So these two are the functionaries or functioning models, force and consciousness. Anything, everything, what we see is subjected to force, which is a quantity or measurable quantity or measurable component. Consciousness cannot be measured, it can be perceived. That is a qualitative component. Okay. That is, this is perceptible, that is imperceptible. Force takes care of the pattern, precision, regularity, or order of function. When we say order of function, pattern, precision, regularity, these three are executed or ensured by force, but with the direction from consciousness. Consciousness gives direction to force to execute these things: pattern, precision, and regularity. These three. Pattern, again, which is a structural specification, what the structure should be. That is what is pattern. Precision, what should be the characters or qualities of that particular object. And regularity, how the action or behavioral pattern is timed. That is what is a timing component. That is called regularity. So these three are the called order of function and executed or ensured by force as a medium and consciousness as a direction. So these are the ones which consciousness is the one which ultimately ensures whether it is Earth rotating around Sun in 365 days a year, 365.6 to be precisely. But there is no cut short. It doesn't. It follows that periodicity. It follows that pattern, the precision, regularity, these things. Similarly, whether it's a earth or an earthworm, even an earthworm also, if it is cut short at earthworm into two, this earthworm has the ability to regenerate. That is again a pattern, precision, regularity. It has its qualities, precision maintained. Everything is directed by consciousness. This is the functioning of nature. Now, just before this, we had understood the concept of magnetism, which is present. This magnetism, which is produced out of action of a spinning of a life force particle in the friction space around the space. Okay. Now, this magnetism has certain forms or certain features defined. Again, this is out of consciousness or the order of function from nature. This magnetism can transform itself into five different waves. On the left, I'm just showing, I took the example of a light wave. White light, when put into prism, it can transform or it can give it to seven different wave patterns. What we see, the visible range light, seven wave. Okay, so I just ignore that seven part. We just this magnetism wave can transform into five different waves. These waves are named as wave for smell, heat or light, taste, pressure, sound. So these are the five qualities or five forms of waves which can be transformed from that magnetism. These wave patterns, these five wave patterns are present in every object we see, whether it is inanimate or animate, living body or non-living body. These are the five wave patterns we see any object. Even when we see a commercial, these commercials they promote this particular brand of tea is having a good taste, good smell, and good color. Okay, color on the sense of light or heat. So these are they are promoting the three out of Panchatan Matras, they are promoting the three qualities. So these are the qualities or these are the wave patterns from even inanimate object. That's why I just took example of a cup of tea. Okay, so these are the five things which are present in any being, whether it is living or non-living. Then the speciality of living beings or animated bodies is living beings, animated bodies have sixth wave ability to, okay, there are five sensory organs. These five sensory organs are capable of sensing those five tanmatras, panchatanmatras, which are the five sensory organs. And sixth wave pattern is the mind, which can be sensed, perceived by the living beings, any living being, whether it is human or even grass or a plant or a bomb. So these living bodies have ability or concept of mind. The mind wave, the wave transformation of magnetism into mind wave living beings. Now, let us go into the functioning of mind or how this mind functions. We just went through the Panchatan Matras. Next, called five Tanmatras, five sensory organs. The all pervading consciousness in the universal magnetism is mind of God. When with the first chapter is mind of God. What is mind of God? All God, that is at a macro level. All the phenomena that is taking place is because of mind of God. The same consciousness which is present in these transformations, the mind can function through these all rest seven or total there are eight functioning bodies, functioning components: physical body, life force, biomagnetism, genetic center, brain, sensory organs, and soul. So when these are all present, only then that can be called as a living being or animated body. If any of this functioning component is missing or it is not available, it is not or it cannot be called as living body or organism or living being. So that is the basic difference between inanimate bodies or animated bodies. Okay. So this mind is nothing but a magnetic wave. So that's why these magnetic interacts with these remaining all components through magnetic wave. So magnetic wave is the only one which is the form of interaction with mind. Even physical body interacts with mind or life force. The magnetic wave of life force is again interacting with mind. It's again a complete magnetic wave. That's all. There is no physical organ or component. With mind is basically a biomagnetic wave or magnetic wave. Okay. These components, we'll just quickly touch upon those things. What is physical body? Physical body, certain substances of chemicals or cells. It is made up of cells having some containment or defined body or outline. Life force, integration of all energy particles, those are spinning around. So due to the pressure surrounding force, life force particles are continuously spinning. That is nothing but life force. Biomagnetism, the sum of those two principles, magnetic wave from life force, that is being emitted because of gravity, that is the biomagnetism. Next comes genetic center. Genetic center in the physical body, the intensified biomagnetism location or the either normally it is the center of the body where we have intensified magnetism, that is called genetic center, or even the sexual vital fluid, which is the key constituent for ensuring life force, that is also stored and preserved or concentrated. Helps the mind in providing the signal to the mind, or the wave or magnetic wave is processed by brain and given to mind, or the received by brain, the sensory organs give signal to brain, and ultimately it is passed on to mind. So again the brain sends signals to mind. Mind is interacting with brain or through brain. The sensory organs, as I already mentioned, these are the ones which transform the five tanmatras or the five perceptible wave patterns into the wave patterns which can be into the magnetic wave which can be supplied to the brain. Sensory organs are the organs which convert those signals to the perceptible signals through brain to mind. So as we see, everything, all are feeding to mind. These transformations of the mind are felt, perceived, and realized by mind's functionality. That is the functionality of mind. What it does is it receives the signals or waves from all these the perception of feeling, pain, pleasure, peace, ecstasy. Okay. So these are the ones which are there. Mind. Now, soul, or even it is referred to as soul in a different perspective. However, soul is nothing but same as GC or genetic center. The entire formation, from the formation date to the evolution, and all the universal forces are passed on and stored in this component. This has two functions. One is compression, other one is magnification. The data or the waves are compressed, and at the time of need, it is magnified and released. So it is stored in a compression form like a zip file or RAR file. It is compressed, and when needed, it is expanded and supplied. So this is what is referred to as genetic center. And in older times or ancient times, it was referred to as soul, or the both are the same, doing the same functionality, storing the entire data right from formation to till date. So that is getting on added and stored. And the speciality of this is passed on to the next generation or next progeny also. The past data is stored, compressed, and this data is passed on even to the next generation also. So here we see the importance of a genetic center. So which we will go little more detailed into genetic center component. Genetic center. This can be somewhat simplified or better understood by taking example of a magnet, because we are talking here magnetism. So definitely it has relevance or relation with magnet. Okay. Magnet has a north pole and south pole we see, and there is a magnet which has a physical body, right? Physical body or magnet we see. Yes. And it has a certain magnetic wave or field, or which is going defined in the school days or even science. We have done experiment. We take a point magnet and we take it, put it around the magnet. So magnetic field can be traced, or we can see how far this magnet has magnetic field. So this is what is based on the size of the magnet. It has a defined magnetic field. Okay. So similarly, our physical body can be defined or classified into three different aspects. One is the physical body. Second one is astral body. Third one is causal body. Physical body is made up of structures with millions of cells. Billions of cells are there as a life force that constitute the astral body. And the causal body, some of the biomagnetic field from the life force. As we already in the first principle, we thought life force has biomagnetism or magnetic field surrounding that. So that biomagnetism or the magnetic field, which is surrounded around all around the life force particle, that is all around beyond the body, that is called the causal body. So these are the three things: physical body, which represent the physical cells; astral body, the life force particles; causal body, the biomagnetism or sum of magnetic field, which is all around the life force or all around the body. So these three are the typical classification of construction of body. This life force or this biomagnetic waves, altogether biomagnetic waves and life force, those are the ones which circulate all through the body, all through the blood cells, everything. These keep on circulating. This circulation is the one which is maintaining life force or life. This can be referred to as a small example here, or what we see, the magnetic wave particle. Magnetic wave originates from one and terminates at center. Basically, in this, I'm just showing this out. It from the center, it moves around and comes back. So that is what is the circulation or magnetic wave path is defined. Similarly, the center of the body, we have the genetic center, where the entire life force is intensified, stored, and this magnetic field, like the center of the magnet, we have the strongest magnetic field, and it spreads all around. Similarly, the genetic center is the intensified magnetic field or biomagnetic field is there, where all around it spreads all around the body, which defines the causal body, or the causal body phenomena is monitored or maintained or controlled with the intensity or quality and quantity of genetic center. When we say physical body, or this genetic center has three functions. Okay, so one is physical function, the other one is spiritual function, third one is mental function. So these three functions are again a result of genetic center. When we say physical body, what does it does? It does the process of conversion of food through the seven stages: juice, blood, flesh, fat, bone marrow, and sexual vital fluid. So these are the ones which takes the conversion through the physical body. This physical body or physical cells do this process of conversion. Then the constant life force, constant speed circulation of the life force, and the other frictional forces or centripetal forces, these make the astral body. These circulation and biomagnetic center, these are ultimately part of astral body and causal body. So when we say the GC is linked with the center of life force energy particles, like that the center of all celestial bodies and absolute gravity of nature in space, those are also linked. Like as a object or individual body as a genetic center, similarly the centers of all celestial bodies are also connected with absolute gravity or nature. The connection is invisible. Okay. When we say the physical body, it transforms from food to sexual vital fluid. That is the physical process taking place. Spiritual body, life force or the life force particles that constitute astral body. The mental or the intensified magnetism that defines the causal body, or what we see the kind of magnetic field. These three functioning phenomena together is called genetic center. So what is genetic center? Genetic center is function of doing the function, these three functions. Next, when we say intensified magnetic storage of data or imprints, these six magnetic forms, the Panchatan Matras and mind, these are stored from beginning to beginning. Okay. Uh, is my audio clear? I think
Yeah, now it is okay
now
because
it is
in
clear.
between
Okay.
there was some small interruption there. Now it's clear. It's clear.
Okay. I think there was some internet issue from the beginning also. I tried to change the device and okay, if it is okay, I'll continue if it is clear now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is okay.
Yeah. Okay. The six imprints, the six magnetic forms are stored from the formation stage to the present and is passed on. There are inheritors, which are heirs, we call it. They take inheritance. This genetic center gives inheritance to next generation also. This decides the physical and spiritual values. Genetic center decides the physical and spiritual values. As we say, pattern, precision, regularity. It is nothing but coming from consciousness. This genetic center is the one which is taking responsibility for maintaining the values from the direction of consciousness, maintaining physical and spiritual values. This is the center of supreme justice. When we say the cause and effect, the law of karma, all these things are stored, maintained. So we call it center of supreme justice. This is the source of all feelings. Genetic center is the storehouse of all imprints for future generation, as we mentioned. So genetic center is a treasure from the divine to the human. Marcy says, understand its value, maintain the genetic center, and use it respectfully. When we say these three important things, being a divine from the treasure, so it has to be understood its significance, its importance, then accordingly maintain and respect the value of this. This GC or genetic center is a combination of life force, intensified magnetism, which are pure and divine components. Okay. Now, if it is pure and divine component, why there are disturbances or there is impurity in the genetic center. In the previous class also, Janvi ma'am, she mentioned or she asked a thought-provoking question during the class of philosophy of life. She mentioned that human mind has progressed in advanced with all inventions, with all its ability, progressing science from where we were from the stone age to we have come to such an advancement or comfort we have increased. But why there is no happiness? Why there is no peace? That was a thought-provoking question which was asked during previous class by Janvi ma'am. This mind is interlinked with genetic center. So any disturbance to genetic center will disturb the mind. Basically, mind is a magnetic wave which is getting signals from the genetic center. If genetic center is disturbed, mind is also getting disturbed. Okay. What disturbs the genetic center? Or answer to the question which was mentioned or referred in the earlier class also. GC or genetic center being a magnetic wave, other waves in the surrounding will disturb. This is simple. Like in FM radio, what we are seeing, if FM radio channel is there, we are tuning in our code. We may not get the channel clearly. We may be getting some disturbances. In Doha, it is clear because there are some other signals or other interferences from surrounding. Being a magnetic wave, genetic center is subjected to interference of other wave patterns also. Okay. What are those wave patterns which can disturb? Number one, through waves from accumulation of unfulfilled desires. The desires which are not fulfilled, unfulfilled desires will be retained and that will be releasing the wave which will be causing disturbance or which will be contaminating genetic center. This is number one. Number two is the mental waves from others, the other individuals or others which are there, mental waves from others who curse due to pain or suffering that has been given to them. So that is the second wave pattern which can influence the genetic center. Third one, exceeding the individual's own fault, exceeding the moral and natural limits and methods of in food, work, sex, rest, and thought. If the limits are exceeded, that will lead to overconsumption of biomagnetism. So genetic center gets weaker or cannot meet the production or meet supply the requirement. It will get weakened. So that is again another wave or another pattern which leads to weakening of the genetic center. So these are the three things. The first one is unfulfilled desires. That doesn't mean that you have to go and fulfill all your desires just because there is a desire. No, by fulfilling all the desires which are wanted or unwanted, which will have other repercussions. So the answer or the technique here is moralize your desires. By moralizing the desires, there are desires which are fulfilled, and the desires which are good and fulfilled, there will be no contamination, no impact on the genetic center. Similarly, mental waves from curse or from others, negative waves coming from others. For that, we have to ensure we do not cause any harm to others, either physically or mentally. That is the one we take. We take the oath of we will not do any harm to anybody, either physically or mentally. To the possible extent, I will try to remove the pain of others. This is the reason behind doing that practice. Third one is limits and methods. So we have to follow limits and methods so that the genetic center, biomagnetism, the integrity and functionality is ensured. Ultimately, this is what we are trying to say. Understand the value, maintain the genetic center, and use it respectfully. Now we are going to the next component where the functioning of biomagnetism or genetic center, or how does it function? Genetic center, mind. Genetic center and mind are the wave patterns which are getting connected through brain, or brain is the organ, sensory organ, which is kind of helping the magnetic waves received from the genetic center, perceived and transformed to mind for its ability to understand or to perceive the feelings. This is what can be explained. Genetic center being intensified magnetism, which receives, transforms signals to mind for mind to analyze, mind to perceive, mind to give the feedback like pain or pleasure or peace or ecstasy. Okay. This mind or this is being a wave. Mind, when we say it's a magnetic wave. Wave means it is following a cycle. If it is following a cycle, there is one term called frequency or number of cycles per second. So these constant gravity from space and a rotational force is giving rise to a frequency or a wave pattern. This wave pattern is following a frequency. This frequency can be classified or measured based on various modes or various timings or brain patterns. Okay. So at times, yes, this wave frequency of the mind can operate in the range of 14 to 40 hertz, that is called beta wave, 8 to 13 hertz, that is called alpha wave, and 4 to 7 hertz called theta, and ultimately the most the lowest wave frequency 1 to 3 hertz, that is called delta wave. These two functions, physical and biological transformation, physical or biological transformation of biomagnetism through five sensory perceptions, that is pressure, sound, light, taste, and smell. Okay, these are the physical or biological transformations what we are seeing. We can see that physical or biologically we can feel those. The psychological transformation of biomagnetism, okay, through mind, that is giving a perception of pain, pleasure, peace, ecstasy. Okay, and when the mind is focused on feeling the biomagnetism, when we are having physical perceptions, okay, when we are having the psychological perceptions, pain, please, pleasure, peace, ecstasy, that is the psychological one. But the third one, mental one, when the mind is focused on biomagnetism, that is called meditation. When mind is focusing only on biomagnetism, nothing else, that is the mental function, and that is called meditation. This results in a reduction of frequency. We all know the importance of those frequency waves, beta, alpha, then theta, and then delta. But how to reach lower frequencies is when mind focus inward or thinking only on the biomagnetism. This is called the meditation. With constant practice, yes, the frequency can be reduced to lower and lower from a beta wave to alpha wave. Beta wave is the one where the mind is completely in the normal day-to-day world doing all the activities. That is the beta wave. When we go on meditation to it, the mind frequency lowers to lower waves, alpha wave or theta wave or delta wave. Okay. Now, the main principle of universe is God. The divine quality is mind. So we are taking two basic concepts: main principle God and the divine quality is mind. These are inseparable. Mind and these are inseparable. Biomagnetism or mind and universal magnetism are the same. Basically, there is no difference in this one. There is nothing in the universe without consciousness. Everything in the universe is and there is nothing other than that. It is only a different name which is given or which is referred to, but ultimately everything is consciousness resulting in order of function. So, as we say, water can be called, it is water. There is a difference in location or different form or added contaminant. H2O, what we say scientifically, we call it distilled water, demin water, various names, ultimately water. Similarly, consciousness is the one which is taking shape of different things. It is regulating everything. It is the one which is forming the particle. It is the one which is forming the magnetism. It is the one which is calling it universal magnetism. It is the one which is deciding the pattern, the precisions or regularity of the things. We call it together as order of function. Everything put together is nothing but the same. It is the consciousness or divine consciousness. So we will just try to summarize, recap of the things. Going back to the first one, nature or God is having inexhaustible source of force and consciousness that we call it plenum. Force and consciousness are inseparable. Force is the one which is executing, consciousness is the one which is directing. Consciousness directs and regulates force in ensuring the order of function, which ensures the pattern precision and regularity of every activity that is happening in this universe. Okay. The all pervading consciousness in the universal magnetism, that is nothing but that is the mind of God. Where is the mind of God or the universal magnetism that is present in the consciousness as consciousness? That is the mind of God. The self-compressive surrounding pressure force, that is the starting point, which leads to formation of a life force particle or a God particle or Vithon. Then this particle rotates, spins at a high speed, and then results in gravity that results in magnetism. This magnetism in living beings called as biomagnetism. This transforms into mind and it is perceived or felt as a pain, pleasure, peace, ecstasy. And these experiences or these feelings are stored, preserved as imprint in GC, and these imprints are passed on to next generation. That is again the function of GC. GC functions through three concepts. One is physical concept, the second one is spiritual, and mental concept, third one. So these three functionings are ultimately linked with or interlinked with mind in the form of magnetic wave or wave pattern. So the importance of GC: enhance the quality, quantity, or strength of genetic center by the physical means, spiritual means, and mental means. For this, Maharishi has suggested, yes, physical means for enhancing genetic center, doing Kaya Kalpa exercise or the simplified exercises, moderating your food intake, selecting what you are doing, selecting the thought process, everything. So those are the limited methods. These are the physical means for enhancing GC. Spiritual methods, yes, doing meditation, where the life force energy particles are strengthened or enriched. So various types of meditations result in various functionalities of enhancing life force particle. And the mental part or mental portion is introspection or analyzing your thought, looking inward and introspection. This is the one which does the functioning or enhances the functioning of GC. So Marx's core importance was the genetic center is the divine treasure. We value it, we respect it, and use it respectfully. So that's all. Be blessed by the divine. Thank you. May the whole world enjoy prosperity, happiness.